Hello and welcome to the Divine CEO Show. I'm Laura Topper and I'm here with the gorgeous Eloise Burton. Thank
Hello.
you, Eloise. Eloise, hello. It's so great to be here with you. I am just so inspired by the work that you do, what you bring to the world, how you're raising consciousness for all of us to get our money act together
Yeah.
in a really powerful and natural and unforced way
Mm,
by knowing the beauty of who we are and that we can really release those old stories and
mm,
get into a new way of thinking and feeling about ourselves.
yeah.
Thank you for being here and
Thank
shining
you for
your
having
light.
me.
It's such a treat. I'd like to firstly, I would like to all shout out to Melanie Griffiths, who
Yes.
connected us together.
Well done,
And
Melody.
Melanie, you're a superstar. I know you're carnivaling, Melanie, all around the Isle of Wight at the moment. And so um, it's just great, isn't it, how we can meet on through these networks with people and be connected in this way and meet new people and new people.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful, Eloise, that you're coming into the magazine also and writing as a wisdom writer in the magazine. This is powerful. Your work is amazing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
No, thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure to be here.
It's great. I'd like to read out your bio so
Mhm.
that for anybody that either knows you or may not know you right up to this moment, that they can have an understanding of your work.
Mhm.
So Eloise Burton is a financial alchemist, a money alchemist. After many years of suffering money mess, Eloise discovered money alchemy. Growing up in one of the most deprived areas of the UK was not an easy place to start a healthy and respectful relationship with money. Over the years, Eloise has accumulated over £100,000 in personal debt and had her home repossessed. Battling with her mindset around money, this led her to close a really successful business, but this was also the start of her awareness of a different way to work with money. She used techniques, she's fine tuned her own practices over the years, and now she shares these with her clients to create ease with money without the yucky feelings that she used to have of guilt and shame and distrust. And now Eloise helps women with businesses who are open to the possibility of sprinkling a magic mixed with a spoonful of logic to let go of your love and hate relationship with money and empowering women to welcome more into their lives. Eloise has a background in assurance and quality assurance and divine feminine leadership. And this is Eloise's book, which Eloise very kindly sent me with the most beautiful bookmark in there. And I absolutely consumed this book in a day, cover to cover, told all my
Wow.
friends about it. And it's like, it's brilliant. I
Oh.
love this book. I love the graphics, the care you've put into it. It's
Mm,
also beautifully edited and formatted. And
mm.
I would definitely highly recommend this. And welcome here. And
Yay.
it's so great. I have so many questions for you.
Fire
And
away.
what is your what when you knew that you had to, it's like we get to those moments, it's like I either do this or or that, what's the consequence? When was that crucial moment when you knew it was change or not be changed and you had to do something?
It was a strange moment. I was still working in my job. I was actually an operations manager for a water company at the time. And I just woke up that morning and I was like, I've got to do this work. I've got to do it. I I cannot keep not doing it. Like it has to happen. And I've never done this in my entire career. I literally just went into work and I said to my boss, I am so sorry, but I need to leave and I need to leave today because if I don't, this beautiful work will not get done. I carried on
I
without
had
you.
to I had to
Oh, she's gone again. She's gone again. So I just felt this enormous, I'd never felt it before. I just woke up that morning with this incredible pull to stop what I was doing, being an operations manager, and to start being um, everything I was meant to be and help other people to do that as well. And I don't think I was particularly sure what that looked like at the time. It was just that big pull. And hopefully Laura is going to make it back. If anyone's here, I'll see if I can see the
Yes,
comments. Oh, she
I
is
am
back.
here. Of
She is
course I
back.
am. That must have been because that at times like that, it's like, where do I get the courage from? What was the
Yeah.
feeling that overrode the, or kind of like bypassed the feeling of fear to actually let the words come out of your mouth?
Gosh, that's a good question. It was just something it was something inside me that I'd never felt so sure of and unsure of at the same time. And I remember my boss was about 60 miles away, so I had to drive to go and tell him. And he rang me and I was like, I was just burst into tears and like it was really emotional. So yeah, it was weird. It was literally, it was almost like I just woke up and that decision had been done. The universe just told me that was it, and it wasn't even that clear, Laura. That was the scary
Right.
thing. I remember him saying, well, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I don't know, but I know it's not this.
You know, I'm just going to interrupt you here because I think this is so powerful. Your whole story is powerful. This piece, though, is so powerful because
Mm,
we hear so many times. Well, I do. You know, if you're not happy in your job, go. We
yeah.
hear it. I don't often hear people that have actually done that.
No, I know. I want to say I don't recommend it. It was the scariest. The 6 months that followed were scary and they were tight, and I had to do a lot of healing. um, I had to do a lot of healing to be able to hold space for it and to be able to, really build faith in the fact that I could make the money that I knew I could and I'd done in the past. Um, but when you don't have that layer of security, you have to heal fast,
You
otherwise you
do.
crash. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I was in a fortunate position that, I knew the minimum that I had to earn was just to cover my salary. And because I'd built up lots of connections over my career, it was relatively easy to do. But the fear every month was just incredible. And one of the things that helped me actually was playing games with money. I don't know if you've seen, but I write magic checks to the
Yes,
universe.
I saw
Yeah,
them. They look amazing. You really have created a magic checkbook.
it is. Yeah, and
Yeah.
look, the best thing about it is all the magic checkbooks that you can get on Amazon. They're fine, but they don't have this. Mine has this.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's
Every
the selling
detail.
point.
I love
That's,
it.
but these were the things that got me from struggling with my mindset to playing a bit of a game with money, surrendering the how and just allowing. Now, they didn't necessarily work first time or second time or third time, but what they helped me do was raise my income over a period of time. And that was like the first time I realized this is meant to be fun. We're meant
Yes.
to be having fun. The more fun I had, Laura, the more money came in.
And how do you define fun?
For me, fun, I feel like I'm quite boring. For me, fun is doing the things that I want to do.
Right.
And that some days that looks like showing up on Facebook, doing a call with someone like your lovely self. And other days it's sitting and journaling. Um, Other times it's preparing a new program. A lot of things that I do for myself are I'm a member of a health club, so I go there
Yes.
regularly. I have
Yes.
my nails done. I
Yes.
go out for lunch with girlfriends that was really probably a whole day rather than lunch.
Yes.
And so I feel like I actually live quite a simple life, but what is fun for me is doing the things that I want to do when I want to do them. And it
Yes.
really created that. And it's also helped me understand a lot more. Money has helped me understand a lot more the feminine energy,
Mm,
and also the importance, the vitalness of that masculine energy that supports the feminine energy. Because I was all about feminine energy, feminine leadership, and so what I learned to do was create structure
structure.
so that I could be in my feminine energy. You can't have one without the other. And so it
Right.
gave me that a really deep understanding of that duality. If left to my own devices, the stuff I wanted to do was lay in bed and relax all day. So
Yes. Yes, that's what I do.
and I didn't feel great about that. Like, I wanted to do it and I didn't feel great about it. So when I put some structure in, some masculine energy into my life, I felt great about the things that I was doing, and that made work fun for me. So that was a sharp learning curve as well.
Wow, Eloise, I love what you're saying, because it's almost as if you're giving yourself permission to play, to have fun, to relax, to really indulge in those things that we've been taught,
Yeah.
you know, by society. We should be doing this and we should not be doing that.
Yeah.
And then you create structure around it to give it a
Mm.
container, so it doesn't feel that it's just, oh, whatever, whenever.
No,
I love that.
because we know, if we're honest, if we have a whatever, whenever attitude, it never happens.
It never happens. Exactly.
And then we feel
Exactly.
bad.
So it's giving ourselves permission to really tap into what feels juicy for us in the moment, and then
Yeah.
planning that in to our
Yeah.
lives, rather than be feeling guilty that I'm doing this and I should be sitting at a desk for 8 hours a day, kind of
Yeah.
pounding away at the keys, trying to yeah,
Yeah. Although, I think it's important to mention that for some, having a job creates a stability in your
right.
nervous system. Money is
Yes.
very intrinsically linked with your nervous system. And so, a lot of my clients say to me, well, I'm not ready to go full time in my business yet. What do I do? And I'm like, keep doing what you're doing. It can be, and you can
Yes.
have a business and have a job.
Yes.
There's so many different options, a part-time job. My first business I built with a full-time career in 15 minutes a day, you know?
Right.
So, and this is the thing, that when I left my job, my nervous system went into overdrive. This is why I don't recommend jumping in
Yes.
unless your nervous system is fine. Um, but yeah, it really tipped my nervous system. I'm glad because I learned a lot and I wouldn't change it for the world. But now looking back, I think I could have eased out of that job, made it much calmer for
But
everyone.
maybe you needed that, because sometimes when we look back and we say, oh, I could have done this and I could have done that,
Mm,
maybe actually what you did was actually perfect, because
yeah,
it really gave you that oomph to say,
yeah,
okay, I've got to heal fast.
yeah,
I
yeah,
can't indulge myself here. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do it in a short space of time so that I can
yeah.
really have my life back as I want it to be, or as I want it to be, but not back.
Yeah,
In
I mean,
a
I love
way.
that. I love the way I did. I both love the way I did it and think that was
That,
risky.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like, it's that duality, isn't it? It's like, it was great, but it was also like,
yeah. Oh my gosh, Eloise Burton, we're here with the wonderful Eloise, who's written this amazing book. I would love you to talk about this. And
yeah.
the question I have around this, though, because just to pick up on your journey, you left and you knew that there was a kind of a turbocharging happening within you,
Mm,
spirit rising, and
mm.
to bring your work forwards. So did you have the intention at that time to really to do that to do the healing and revealing for yourself, and then you knew you wanted to then share this with the world? Or was this kind of how, at what point did you decide, I've got to bring this to others around the world?
Yeah, so I knew there was something, and I knew it was around money, but I was very scared of talking about money because money's rude, money's vulgar, money's the root of all evil, blah 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 blah. And also there's a lot of shame around earning money. Again, a lot of my clients, they want to hit bigger months, but then they're like, but I feel a bit guilty for asking for that much. There's a lot of stuff around money, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. So I played around. I sort of skirted around the issue, started doing leadership coaching for women. It always came back to money, and they
Yes.
always went and asked for a pay rise and got it, right? So
Right.
that was like the confirmation that actually women do want to hold this conversation about money. And they, when they feel empowered, they create more. So the coaching wasn't just about getting it wasn't even about getting a pay rise. That was like the happy accident that happened at the end. But when they felt empowered in themselves, when they turned down that critical voice in their heads, they were actually able to stand and genuinely feel more themselves,
Mm.
and recognize that they wanted more, and that was okay, you
Yes.
know. I think.
Wow.
So carry on.
No, I'm just picking up on that. It's that piece of, it's not only the money, it's about wanting a life that we truly desire. And money is woven into that because, of course, we want to be able to pay for things and circulate and do good things in the world.
Mm.
And and that even builds, increases our self-worth, doesn't it? Knowing that we have that capacity to call that in.
Yeah, and I don't think that many people believe they have the capacity to call it in, because everywhere in the news, on social
Right.
media, in
Yes.
family
It's,
units,
oh my gosh.
don't
Yeah.
talk about money. Why would you need that? You've got more than enough. You've got plenty. It's greedy to want more than enough. And we get stuck in this place where we want more money. We want more money and everything that that brings. And we feel guilty and ashamed and like, I should just be grateful, but surely there's more to life than this. And it's that
Yes.
to and fro that happens. For me, it started happening in my late 30s. And like, there's such, especially women and money, there's such a weird energy, a weird vibe around
It
money
is
with
weird.
women. Mm.
It
Yeah,
is
so that,
weird. I feel it within myself. I mean, I know as you're saying this that I will often make excuses for
mm,
why I haven't got something. Oh, well, it's
mm,
okay. I can live without that. I don't really need it. And yet there's
yeah,
a part of me that's like, oh, but hell yeah, I want that for my life. And then
yeah,
I'll excuse it because I haven't got it. And so it
yeah,
will be like, but no, 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 Laura, it's all right. You're doing really well. It's like this kind of
yeah. And then that keeps
calming
me stuck.
calming ego that wants to calm
Yeah.
me, but it's not a friendly, it's like it wants to be my friend to tell me it's all okay.
Yeah.
Then there's this like, well, no, fuck, I
Mm,
want it.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing is, your brain can't hold two opposing views. It
No,
just doesn't cope very well. And
that's yes.
what your ego is doing
Yeah.
is your ego is being beautifully well behaved for, and it's not always,
Being a good
but
girl.
it is.
Yeah.
Your ego is here to protect you, and it's learned through experiences such as your parents arguing about money, being told that it's rude to talk about money. I remember saying to my son, "Don't put that in your mouth. It's dirty. Money's dirty, right?" So
Right.
your ego, your belief system takes on this. It's not safe for you to have money, and so your ego, which always speaks first and speaks loudest, tells you, "Oh no, you're fine. You don't need that." And what it's actually saying is it's not safe for you to have that much money. And it's
Mm,
doing a beautiful job. So let's just recognize that.
yes.
What we need to do is give it an upgrade. Give it an
Yes.
upgrade, a new belief that money, it is safe for you to have and to hold money. It is
Yes.
safe for you to have the things that you want, and it is safe for you to have more than enough.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Wow. It's so powerful, isn't it?
Mm,
How we
mm,
and when I was reading your book, there was one piece that really struck out to me where you're talking about the journey of the witch and
mm.
women, and our distrust of each other, even how society has, and I know this may feel random in context of what we're
No,
talking
it's not.
about, but it isn't, is it? Because
No.
if we don't trust, if we can't trust ourselves, and we can't even trust that, um, other women, i.e. our clients
Mm,
or people we work with or people that we're in community with, that
mm,
we can trust that they are all for us and we're all for them, then
mm.
that would also create like an immense barrier, wouldn't it, to receiving from other people?
It does. I mean, the only people, naturally that's not true, but the majority of the people that have attacked me online, not physically, um, have been women, and they have been women who pertain to be in women's empowerment. Um, and it's just outrageous that they that pe- the, that that still happens today. We don't have, well, many of us have each other's backs, but there are also people who don't have our backs. And when we are suffering, as many women do, from lack of confidence, perfectionism, people pleasing, like the attack of another woman is so much more harsh on us than
Mm,
any, than if a man said it, it would probably be like, oh, well, you're just saying that for whatever reason. But when a woman does it, a woman who appears to be supporting other women says it, it's more insidious. It gets into your heart a lot more. When I published my book, um, one person messaged me and she said, you should be ashamed of yourself. There's spelling mistakes all the way through your book. And I was like, I don't think there is. But even if there is, even Esther Hicks books have mistakes in, and they're published by like Hay House or someone like that. Um,
yes.
and I was like, well, okay, can you tell me where they are? And she wouldn't tell me where they were. And I said, well, like, do you know what? It's not perfect, but I wanted it to be done, and it's out there doing good in the world. And she's like, it should be better. And I was just like, and then I just blocked her and I shook it off. But this is not uncommon, and it is something that when we become more visible, we expose ourselves to attacks like that. And again, the healing really helps. It's like I've learned this phrase, that sounds like a you problem rather than a me problem, and that's what I say in my head now. If I got a message like that today, I'd be like, that sounds a bit like a you problem to me.
Right. It's a projection of that
Yeah,
person who is having
yeah,
difficulty even reading it because they don't want to hear.
yeah,
And
and
so to find a way to say, I don't want to hear, it's like, well, you've made spelling mistakes.
yeah,
And so it
yeah.
shouldn't be out here in the world doing the
And
work it's doing.
people
And
haven't been able to find these spelling mistakes. There may well be a few in there, but that is,
and
no
do
one
you know
seems to
what?
have found them.
I think there's a whole kind of like overreaction to
Mm,
spelling mistakes. It's
mm,
a bit like a so what?
yeah.
So
I think
what?
like the thing that money and working with money the way that I do has really helped me with is the ability to handle things like that. A few years ago, I wouldn't have been able to handle that. I would have pulled the book from sale. I would have refunded anyone that had bought it. So I would have felt so much shame. And what money has taught me is the side effect of money alchemy is this much quieter ego,
Right.
a much more balanced ego. And it's so quiet now that sometimes I just wait, let it have its chat, and then now I know to let my higher self in and it comes later. But the anxiety of those sorts of things, being visible, is scary. And these people prove why it's scary. But then I'm like, but I've got like 3,000 people in a group who love everything I do, that one
Right.
person. And so the work that I've done with money, healing my inner beliefs, my inner child, my energy, has really helped me be able to grow and expand beyond those very rare attacks. But they are invariably women, which is, it comes from that time. And I truly believe there was a time way before the witch wound occurred, going way back to Mesopotamia. But we know more about the witch wound because of how things were documented around that time. But it's out of fear that others do that. It's out of fear for their own survival, and that's given me goosebumps. And so it really is a them problem. And what we need to do is shine our light, not let those that can't handle it dim our light. Like stand there and say, do you know what?
Be the light
Be the
anyway.
light.
Be the
Yeah,
light.
be the
And
light.
it's really interesting because it's a patriarchal mode of way of being
Yeah.
that as women we have taken on in order to survive, and
Mm,
because we've been told that we've been feared by the
mm,
patriarch, and so we've been put down because we've been feared, because we are so
mm.
powerful, because we are creators,
Yes.
and as soon as we create, well, the creative process is the death rebirth cycle.
Yeah.
So as we're creating, there's going to be a death. It's
Yeah.
like imminent. There has to be a death for
Yeah.
whatever we create, women or men or they, whoever, whatever we're
Yeah.
creating, there's a death that happens. We're in a cycle of it.
Yeah.
So I think women were very kind of like, we were the ones that could really bring something in, and then that thing would go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we were written out of the biblical text. We were written out of scripture. We were written out of politics and
Yeah.
medicine. And, we were hushed because we are power. We're so powerful.
Yeah. I mean, this is, people come to me and they're quite disempowered. And that's one of the things that I always say, what are they so scared of? We don't know. We don't know the capacity of our power. But for us to be pushed away and excluded for so long, there is something. We know we're powerful. I don't think we know how
How
powerful and magical
powerful.
we are. Yeah,
And
because
even when we hear that, oh, you're so
yeah,
powerful, it's kind of like
yeah.
it's like a tagline, isn't it? It's
Yeah, it kind
really
of doesn't
know
go
it.
in.
It's something
Yeah.
very different. I mean, I
Yeah, for me, it's always been I think we said this before, but it's like a remembering when we're talking about this stuff, like I'm all goosebumping
yeah,
and my body's like, I remember this. I never feel like, when I'm on my spiritual journey, I never feel like I'm learning anything new. It's like, oh yeah, of course. It's like a remembering of my power. It's like a remembering of my connection to myself. And we're so disconnected from ourselves, and that's what
yes,
I mean, in my world, we work with money as though she's a feminine being because it's easy to personify her as someone that you want to come around your house and have a cup of coffee and go on holiday with. And it's very simple, but what we can co-create when we create her as a feminine being is infinite. It's infinite and it's so powerful. And who you evolve into as you work with money is like that. It's like you said, it's almost like a shedding of the old you and a step towards the whole you. So even though you're shedding, there's more of you. Yeah,
yes.
it's just beautiful work.
And Eloise, how connected do you believe it, or is there a connection between the money that we say yes to receiving and the vision for our lives that we say yes to opening up to?
Yeah, so one of the big things that I work on with clients is receiving, the ability to receive. Um, Again, most of us are so limited because of everything that's happened to us over the centuries and millennia. We don't even know what our vision is. We don't dream it. We don't dream it. But I do believe that once we fix our view on something,
Yes,
even
yes,
if it's just the next step and we don't know it yet,
yes,
so I know you've got a mission billion, haven't you?
yes.
That's gonna increase once you get there to mission trillion, right?
Yeah,
So that's not the vision, that's just part of the vision. So when
right.
we have that intention, that focus, if we can receive, what we receive is opportunities, movements, things that we couldn't ever have created if we'd reversed engineered it.
Yes,
And that's why I think that the allowing, the receiving is so important. It's not about setting an intention and laying on your sofa in your feminine energy for 10 years. It's
right.
not that.
Yeah, feel me afraid.
I wish it was. We have, but we do have to allow and then take the opportunities and the movements as they're presented
And
to
say
us
yes.
and say yes. Yeah.
And notice where we're stuck on
Yeah.
saying yes.
Yeah. And
Notice
also,
the throat bit.
yeah, definitely the
Oh, I
throat.
don't know. I mean yes, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it.
And the other thing that I think that we often forget, and this has created perfectionism in many of us. I'm definitely a recovering perfectionist, and that is that
Oh
we have
yeah.
to get things right, that we have to go down the right path and take the right opportunities. Success is 90% failure. That's
Yeah.
literally how we end up walking. It's how
Yeah.
we end up talking. It's how big investors like Warren Buffett succeed, by failing a big chunk of the time, like making mistakes. And I see this a lot. Oh, I've got this vision and I took this step and it didn't work, so I stopped. No, that's feedback. That's a failure. Let's go again. Let's go down the next route and see what we learn, see what we uncover. The stuff I put out, again, like probably not 90%, but about 80% of it doesn't land. Like it doesn't land. So I don't
Yeah.
do that again, and I learn from it and I do other things. But it's the ability to receive it all, you know?
Yes.
And that takes what people call shadow work. Um, I don't really understand why it's shadow work, but it is shadow work. That's what they call it. But for me, it's about going inside and seeing what's stopping you. Um, we know everything's possible. Everything's possible because someone's done it, right? If someone's done
Yes.
it, if someone's reached 1 billion people, which I'm sure someone has, then it's doable, right? If
It's
someone's
doable.
done it. And
Yes.
even the stuff that we haven't seen done, if we can conceive it, then it can happen. Everything around us was once an idea. Everything that's man-made, everything, houses, microphones, it was all an idea. So if
Yes.
we can conceive the idea, we can certainly achieve it. What we need to do is open up to receiving all of the weird guidance that we're going to get. And some of the most
Yes.
amazing inventions come out of failure. So,
Yes. Yes, and as you're saying that, I'm inspired to just underscore what you said about you now have a group with 3,000 people in your Facebook
3,000, yeah,
group.
yeah.
Which was there a time when you would have been dreaming of that and thinking, "Oh my god, how's that gonna happen?"
I
And here you
never
are
thought,
with it because it's
yeah,
beautiful. It's something so beautiful
yeah. Yeah,
that
I never thought there'd be 3,000 women in a group for me. I never thought there'd be 5,000 people on my email list interested in what
right.
I do. And like that, I think my first goal was like 100, and then it was 1,000, and now it's like my goal is to reach 1 million women with this work. And after
Yes.
speaking to you, I realized that goal's not big enough. So energetically, I'm working on saying the billion that gets
Billion.
stuck in my throat. I
Say
can't
it.
say
Just
it.
say it. Come
It's like
on, just say it.
billion.
1,000,000,000
Because
financially
yeah,
independent women. Yeah.
exactly. And like it's more than the finance as well. It's that
It's a whole way of being.
power,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
power in yourself. We put our power outside of us a lot of time. Oh, no one bought, so that's outside of yourself. Oh, there's a recession coming, that's outside of yourself. Oh,
yes,
I want to give women their power back when it comes to money. Like put your power back inside yourself, because that's where all the money comes from. I mean, it comes from outside of you, but the ability to attract it comes from the power within you.
it totally does. I mean, just to even can think, okay, if I really, really want to buy something, like
You
if
find
somebody
a
really,
way.
really wants something, whether there's a recession, whatever my bank balance
Mm.
is saying, if there's something I want to, then I'll get it.
Yes, that
I'll
is
get it. I'll make
exactly it.
sure I
Yeah,
find the way
yeah,
legally and
yep,
honestly and
yeah,
ethically to allow that to happen and to bring it into my world.
yeah.
So
And
the power that we have is quite extraordinary.
absolutely. I mean, we can
Well,
all think of things that we couldn't afford, but we went and got, right?
yes,
And we
yes.
found that way of
We
doing it.
found
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And oftentimes, if we're really honest with ourselves, the thing that we say that we want just isn't a priority for us. That's why we don't
right.
end up getting it.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we kind of have this like it's like water finds its own level.
Mm,
And then the things that are a priority for us, whether we think so or not in our conscious mind, we will be supplied
yeah,
with those things to keep us going to take the next step.
yeah. I mean,
So
there's
if it's
that.
not a yeah, I
You
love
get
that.
what you focus on. I think that's what Tony Robbins says, isn't it?
Yeah,
You get what you focus
totally.
on, and it's so true. You get what you focus on, and when we work with money, we can focus on money not in a way that feels icky, but in a way that feels totally aligned, totally empowered, and just starts to flow because you're focusing on it. And I've just come off the back of a 5-day challenge. I don't know if you were there,
I
but
wasn't there. I missed.
ah,
Oh,
in this 5-day
next one.
challenge, the first thing we do is measure people's money temperature. And then the very last thing that we do on the Saturday is measure people's money temperature. And it goes up so far, like their connection with money, their ability to create money, their ability to not worry about money. Like it shifts so much in 5 days. Well, it's actually 6 days, but it shifts so much. And one of the tasks is I tell them money is everywhere.
Right.
And many people don't believe that because they live in scarcity. That's what we're taught. It's no shame on them. That's what we're taught. And they go out and they find money is actually in a lot more places than they thought it was before.
Right.
And it's so fun.
Yeah, it's that thing of unexpected money, isn't it?
Yeah.
Money popping up,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, where were you?
But
I didn't know you were in a drawer or you
yes.
were there. And it's like, oh, you've suddenly popped up into my world.
And
And
watch what happens when unexpected money comes in, because a lot of times we push it away. We go, oh, it doesn't count because I'd forgotten it was there. It doesn't count because I didn't earn it. I got given it. It doesn't count because it was a tax rebate. Let's face it, no one expects a tax rebate. They're
oh,
nice, aren't they? I
yeah.
had my first 10K month, I was working really hard towards it. And I kept working really hard towards it. And my accountant was like, what are you talking about? You did it. You did it 3 months ago. It was just going into another part of my business. But I was like,
Right.
but no, I don't want that 10K. I want it to come from this part of my business. I don't want that 10K. I
Oh,
want that 10K. So like when we
why
get
do we do
unexpected,
that to ourselves?
because we are actually quite discriminating against money, and it comes down to that it's not safe. It's not safe. And we also feel like we have to be in control because I said it had to come through
Mm,
Money Alchemy that time, and it didn't. It
right.
came through some consulting and coaching. I was like, well, that doesn't count then. So I was literally going, go away £10,000 each month. Who does that?
Well,
It-
and there's no judgment on that because we're
no,
all doing something
really,
to the degree that we are, aren't
yeah,
we? We're
yeah,
all, otherwise we'd all really be those millionaires and billionaires that we,
exactly.
so we're all, it's like it's an ongoing
Mm,
process, this work. It's an
mm.
eternal life, it's an eternal task or job, isn't it?
It,
To
yeah,
reveal the layers of beliefs, and it's a matrix belief
yeah,
that we've fed into as an accumulative. We've fed into this
yeah.
universally, the belief that there isn't enough,
Hmm,
we're not
hmm,
enough, we'll never
hmm.
have enough, and we can't be enough to in order to magnetize this wealth that we think we want for our
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah, and what I find fascinating is there's a lot of religious connotations around money that are thrown around. Actually, several of the ancient texts talk a lot about manifesting and abundance and
Yes.
how to do
Oh
it
yeah, and
and show us how to
prosperity.
do it. Yeah,
Yes, they
exactly. And
do.
how we can have whatever we want. How we
Yes.
can have whatever we want. And that is our literal God-given right. It's just understanding how to pull it towards you. And I do find it fascinating that people go, yeah, well, the Bible says, and you're like, yeah, but it also
The
says
Bible
all of
says
this other stuff.
the Bible is a prosperity book.
Yes, it is. It is. I mean, that's why I truly I love the Course in Miracles, which feels like Bible 2.0 to me. It's like the explanation, because we've lost it's just like we've lost the translation. And the Course in Miracles, I absolutely love it. I find it hard, not gonna lie, it's hard, it's mind bending, but the explanation of the works is just beautiful, and I love it for that. Love it for that.
Yeah,
And I
it's
just
great.
yeah,
And I, when you say you find it hard, I think don't you think, Eloise, that's a good thing, because
yeah,
you're then kind of whittling away at the program
mm,
that has been we've been trained by for so long, which kind of is comfortable and easy.
yeah,
Oh, there isn't any money, there isn't enough, that we accept that.
yeah,
And then when we get a text or a program or a sacred text that can show us another way, then we resist that because
Yes.
it's like, no,
Yeah.
how can you be saying that?
It's that cognitive dissonance again. You can't hold two
Totally.
opposing beliefs.
Yeah.
And you see it in people. They go, and then they go either back to their new programming, or their old programming, or they go, okay, tell me more about that, because they've got that niggling doubt that their belief is true, that the belief is quite loose, and it's repetition
I
is
was going to
definitely our
ask
friend.
I was going to ask you what
Mm.
your kind of antidote for this, or what is
Yeah.
your alchemical process for this, because the conscious mind really isn't running the show, is it?
No, no, and we're fools if we think it is.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
do we go into full blown hypnotherapy?
I
Do
mean,
we?
I love hypnotherapy. I'm a
Yeah.
hypnotherapist. I do a lot of hypnotherapy work with my clients.
Ah, okay,
It
right.
speeds things up and it helps us to uncover the big stuff quicker. Um, but my process is really, it's quite simple. It's reveal, heal, and transform, and it works on the basis that part of alchemy is about coming apart. It's called, it has different names, but it's dissolution is the modern English version. Dissolution, and the revealing makes us question our beliefs.
Right.
One of the most powerful questions when it comes to really anything, but money in particular, is this even mine?
Right. Because it
Is
isn't, is it?
no,
No.
no, it's not. So
I
when
like
you
the way you
realize,
phrase it though, Eloise. Is this even mine?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's a really questioned in that way. It's like, yeah, this is really interesting. Is it even mine? When I
yeah,
give it to someone, I circulate it, it's not
yeah.
mine.
And that question fosters something in us, curiosity. It fosters curiosity. It's like, huh? What do you mean? Is it even mine? And then your curiosity takes over and you start to open up and reveal what this stuff is.
Yeah.
Then the healing is really important. So this is where we've revealed it and we're pulling apart. We're really pulling apart. We heal using all sorts of methods. Hypnosis, tapping is one of my favorites. So easy to do. Journaling. I'm so resistant to journaling, but it works every single time.
Yes.
And also visualization. Your mind doesn't understand the difference between
Right.
real and imagined. So we can go and really paint a gorgeous picture. As we're doing that, as we're healing, we start to come back together, which is the coagulation phase of alchemy. But we come back different. The parts that have come apart can never go back together the same way. They
Right.
always find a different way. And that's when the transformation happens. That's when the up level happens, the upgrade. You feel different, you behave different, you speak differently, and the money comes in. And we have to go through the alchemy process over and over again. I always think it's like yoga, it's never done. You just have to keep doing it. The more you dig, the more you find. And it's such a powerful technique. You just keep going round. But the number one thing that literally booted me in the backside
Can
was self-trust. Self-trust is something that most of us do not have. And I just want to give you an example. We've all got that friend who you speak to her regularly, you love her to pieces, and she keeps saying, "Oh, we must go out for a coffee. We must go out for a coffee." And you're like, "Yeah, that's cool. Send me your dates." And you know that she's never going to send you the dates because she's been doing this for years. And so in your mind, when she says, "Yeah, we're going to meet up for coffee," your mind goes, "Yeah, right. Yeah, right." When we tell ourselves we're going to do things and we don't follow through, what we create is that same situation in our own mind. Oh, I'm going to, example from my recent past, I'm going to learn a language, and I do it for like 5 days and then I stop. And my subconscious mind is like, yeah, right. Now, if your subconscious mind is getting this, oh, Eloise says she's going to do this now. Yeah, right. Oh, she's going to do this now. Yeah, right. If your subconscious mind doesn't believe you, then it's not going to put that message out into the energy around you, into the universe, into the ether. and it's not going to be able to attract anything because it doesn't believe you. You have to believe things to see them. And if your own subconscious mind doesn't believe you, it's going to be really hard to manifest. Now, one of the things I always say is you probably say to your friends and your family, I'm going to do that. And 90% of the time you do it, they can rely on you to keep your word. When it comes to ourselves, it's probably less than 10%. And what we need to do, what we need to do is build self-trust so that we will keep going through the reveal, heal, and transform process. So that when we say, I'm going to have my next or my first 10K, 20K, 50K, 100,000K month, we can take that to the bank because we've built so much self-trust with ourselves. Our subconscious mind goes, you bet we are, love. And it sends out the messages and it brings it back. And so it starts within us. It starts with building the self-trust muscle and digging deep and, going, I want to do this money healing, Eloise. Well, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's
Right.
do it. And what I've found that since I have built self-trust and created this repetition of my process, quantum leaps happen, timelines collapse.
Right.
So things that should take 10 years take 10 months. Things that should take 10 months take 10 minutes. And
Right.
the self-trust speeds up your manifestation.
Wow.
I wondered what you were going to say then.
Wow. So many kind of bells going off for me. And the piece about actually being in integrity with what we're saying and then doing it's what came through for me there was Florence Scovel Shinn,
Oh, yeah.
the power of your word is your wand. That's
Yes.
exactly what you're saying, isn't it?
Yes.
If we can't be that for ourselves when we say we're going to do something and not actually follow through with it, then we're out of integrity and out of alignment with what we want for our lives. So we're kind of kidding ourselves. Oh, I'll do that. I'll do that. So, well, then do it.
Yeah, because we're a good person outwardly and we do the things, we're in integrity with everyone else, but we're out of integrity with ourselves. And if we've got that, right narrative, we're just not going to be able to attract what we want. It's a harsh truth, that one, but a powerful one.
I think it's, we hear different things from different people and it's all the same thing, but when it's said differently,
Lands.
and I've just heard it said very differently by you today, Eloise. I've heard it said in a way of like, there is so much power in being in alignment.
Yeah, with ourselves.
With ourselves. What I'm saying, if I want to do that, then I do it and take the steps. And it's almost like building that a body memory, it's building a body memory as well, because it's taking the actions of the thing that we say we're going to do for ourselves. If we're not taking the action, then we're not actually building up the consciousness in our own cellular makeup.
Yes. Yeah. And that's, we get this is something else that we've been taught out of. Like, it's selfish to put ourselves first, right?
Right.
It's not. It's in integrity to put ourselves first. Can you imagine how much more powerfully you could show up, Laura, when you're in integrity with yourself, the impact and support that you can give everyone around you?
Yes.
And instead we're taught you must give until you're exhausted.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what we should do. But actually that makes no sense when we're talking about integrity in ourselves.
And do you think that's something, I mean, that for me, that's a real learning curve. And, I know we're speaking for everybody that's watching here and for the collective of us, whoever we are, that it's learning to prioritize our own needs first, especially as empaths, as teachers, as way showers, as spiritual guides, as change makers. There is also this kind of light worker belief that we have to be kind of dragging ourselves on the floor. It's such a fallacy, isn't it? And yet, even when we deny it, I can still see fragments of that within me.
Yeah.
It might not be the whole full-blown thing that I'm doing, but I can still see, I'm taking on that person's stuff and I'm I'm not creating boundaries. I need to create firmer boundaries for my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah. Like the thing is, like light is only half of the story. We can't have light without dark.
Right,
Like
exactly. We come
it's
from the light comes, there is darkness, and then there is
especially
light.
especially as women, like our cycles were attuned to the seasons, to the moon cycles. Like
To the
the
moon, yes,
darkness, the darkness was a very potent, it still is a very potent part of our energy restoration. And I know the types, that you're talking about, but toxic positivity just creates toxicity.
right.
And you can be blinded by the light. That's not helpful.
Yes,
I truly believe we're here to experience contrast, and that sometimes that sucks, but without that contrast, we can't experience the light, you know?
yes,
And we've got so installed in this, we must give everything of ourselves, when actually to be able to do that, you have to be completely filled up yourself.
yes.
Can't do it empty. You can't do it when your energy is dispersed all over the place and you've got fragments of your soul everywhere.
And then that also, how do you feel, Eloise, about, and we'll talk about this because we've got, with just a few minutes left, but I think this could be a good kind of completion topic here before you give your final kind of, I think fear is something that we could just mention for a moment,
Mm,
because
mm,
how does somebody, like, how do we get ourselves out of that fear process, so that I've got to keep going and I've got to do this and keep,
mm,
I'll be of full on service for others before myself. I've got to do it because there might be a little bit of finance involved in it or something, and then fear kicks in of, well, it takes courage to put ourselves first and give ourselves the permission to say, I'm going to take this hour for me right now. I'm
yeah.
going to do what I really feel, that what really would generate pleasure for me.
Mm.
How do we release that fear or dissolve it?
I'm a big fan of thanking it. This is your ego playing up. It's your ego going, don't do that. That's unsafe. You can't have a lay down for an hour. You can't do that. That's not how we do it in our society. I'm just like, thank you. Thank you for showing me that. Really appreciate your concern. The thing is, everything, and I know this is cheesy, but everything we want is on the other side of our fear. Fear is the killer of dreams. And we've all had an experience. This is the thing that I always remember as well. We've all had an experience where we're stood on the edge of something and fear's going, don't do it, don't do it. So loud, like it's shaking your whole body. As
Yeah.
soon as you do it, where is any of that? It's nowhere.
Right.
It's silent. It's not even like, well done, Eloise, you did that. It's like, yeah, whatever. Feels like a teenager. and
Yes.
and so I guess I personify it by thanking it, and then I have this vision of it turning its back on me when I've done it, and it's like, whatever.
Right.
Five nails, like, yeah, all right then. Because it's not there. It literally goes the minute you step forward, doesn't it?
Yes. Yes. So it really is about reprogramming. It's about showing up in a whole different way,
Yeah,
and believing that it's safe to do that, believing that it's safe to trust ourselves, to
yeah,
really follow our intuition, follow the pleasure.
yeah, yeah. And like, obviously, fear's there for a good reason, just like our ego. We have to use discernment.
Yes, of
um,
course.
But when we know consciously that, yeah, it's going to be a bit scary, but I'm going to be okay no matter what happens, go and do it. Go and do it. And again, like this, the healing, the ability to feel safe in your own body, safe in your own mind, safe in your own energy, the healing's such an important part of having that conversation with our emotions and our ego.
Yes. And it's all here in your beautiful book. I'm holding it up here so that
Yay.
viewers, if you're listening on the podcast, it's The Magic of Money Alchemy by Eloise Burton. You can find it on Amazon.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing, it's a beautiful book. It's an absolutely
Thank
beautiful
you.
book. And it's filled with incredible insight and fantastic exercises. And if you take the time to actually go through it all, there is a lot in here that can really help to unearth
Mm.
unearth some things and for you to make changes for your life. And this is the time, because we're here to as leaders and visionaries that are watching here, and you know this, Eloise, for yourself, that there is a necessity for financial flow so that we can be in the fullness of
Yeah.
expression of what it is we want to give in the world,
Yeah.
and so how we want to show up as service.
Yeah. Yeah. And money is an amazing energy. It's here with us on this planet. Like, we don't have to connect to it. It's literally here. Like, we can touch it. It's one of the most, it's the quickest route I know to discovering what my hang-ups are.
Do you think, one thing very quickly here, it's very interesting how we're coming into, we're like in a money less kind of experience now, where it's all being zapped
Mm,
online. And I heard something like there's $30 trillion going through our phones at any given moment.
right?
And that
Yes.
it's like we don't even have to see money, do we, to experience because it can land in our bank account. It
Yeah.
can
And
land in different ways without it even having to be this physical thing that's coming into
yeah.
our lives.
Yeah, and it is, so it used to be linked to the amount of gold that there was in the world, but money
Yes.
is now infinite. There is nowhere near as much gold in the world as there is money, and they literally just create more of it. They call it, what do they call it? Counterfeiting when we do it. They call it quantitative easing when they do it. Like, there is so much money in the world. There's not enough gold to support it. Money has transformed. It has almost like gone to another dimension where it was notes and coins before, and
Right.
now it's like shifted into a whole other way of being. And like you
Yeah.
said, it's literally floating over our heads. It's literally in the air now
It's
because of
going
how
through
many
our
transactions.
phones. It's
Yeah,
like it's in our
yeah,
hands.
yeah, yeah. And it's I mean, money in the Roman times, money was a bag of salt. So it has
Yes,
constantly
exactly.
evolved. Yeah, that's where we get the word salary from. But it's constantly evolved. And it will evolve again. I
Mm. Oh, wow. Eloise, thank you so much for being here, for all the work you're doing, for you're opening the floodgates here for our
yeah.
lives so that we can be the expression of wealth
Yes.
and love it and own it and get juicy with it and feel good about it. And just thank you for being
Oh,
here and coming on the show and shining your light in Divine CEO, which I'm really excited to how that's going to unfold as well, with
mm.
you being in the magazine. And thank you.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I literally talk about money all day, so I love it.
It's brilliant. So I would really love you. I'm going to put you on the spotlight here for maybe 1 or 2 minutes just to answer um, to one of your most frequently asked questions about money.
Mhm.
Which, if you've got one sorry, I didn't prepare you for this.
No,
If
it's
there
okay. I
is
was fine. I've
one,
got one.
you know,
Yeah,
if there
yeah,
is one that you could just speak on for a couple of minutes to
yeah,
anyone that's watching, to kind of like say, this is it. This is
yeah.
from your viewpoint and your knowing. Oh, I've
Hey, I'm back. So the most common question I get asked is, how do I know if I've got money blocks? Because we can't feel them. Often we can feel love blocks, health blocks, but and energy blocks, but sometimes we can't feel money blocks for lots of different reasons. Um, and that's the number one question, I guess. How do I know if I've got money blocks? And the answer is quite simple. If you look around and you look around your life and think, do I have all the money that I desire? Do I have all the money that I desire? Not the money that you need, not the money that you want, but the money that you desire. And I mean, like, allow yourself to desire it. I know for some that can get you in the solar plexus as well, or even lower down. Like, oh, desire money. Are we allowed to desire money? Then if you haven't got all the money that you desire in your life, then you have very likely, like 99.9% chance, if not 100%, you have some sort of money blocks. Now, money blocks can be, um, we often think they're mental blocks, but many times they're like they've got coded into our body, into our energy, into our nervous system. And that's why this work can be so triggering. it can really make you go, well, that's just stupid, Eloise. But then it starts to settle, and you start to see, oh, actually, I wonder if that reaction was covering a money block. And once you've figured out the money block, you can start removing it, transforming it using all different types of healing. So yeah, that's the number one question I get asked, Eloise, how do I know if I've got money blocks? I'm like, that's
Wow.
how you know if you haven't got all the money that you desire. And
Yes.
if you struggle to desire money, then you've
Yes.
definitely got money blocks. If it
Yeah.
makes you go, oh,
Or even the conversation, like I was
yeah,
saying before, of, oh, it's okay, it'll
yeah,
do. I'll be all right.
you'll be all right. I
Yeah.
don't need that. I was just stretching anyway, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, they're sneaky as well. They don't always look like money blocks. So I had one
Right.
where, I think I said it in my book, I told a lie when I was 5, and I linked that into success, happiness, and that meant that, I can't have an excess of money because I was a bad person. That was the belief that I took in when I was 5. Um, so
Wow.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, well, and you are an absolute example of somebody that has completely turned their lives around and
yeah,
delved in, and you're swimming in this knowing now that that wasn't true.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
exactly. And that
Yeah.
that number one question to ask yourself is that one that I said earlier, is this even mine? Is
Yes.
this even mine? Like that whole 5-year-old me,
Yes. Was it
that's
even
just
your story?
that was someone
No.
telling me I was bad
Yeah.
for life, and it wasn't even mine. I mean, it happened, but I took that on to
Yeah.
mean I was a bad
Which, of
person.
course, as a 5-year-old,
Yeah, let's
yeah,
face it, some
we're taking,
50-year-olds lie.
yeah, we're taking it on at 60 still.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Hi, Louise. Let me just first of all shout out to your Facebook group here. Join Eloise's Facebook group,
Yeah.
Eloise.Burton. Website is Eloise Burton,
Oh,
and
no, my website's fearlesslyfeminine.me, just to confuse
Fearlessly
everyone.
Feminine.
.me.
And also tune into the magazine. There we go, with fearlesslyfeminine.me. Tune into the magazine. You can download it here. It's free, and you'll start seeing Eloise popping up with her amazing content and articles. And reach out to Eloise through Facebook or through her website to know more. Are you going to be giving any more challenges?
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing a Magnify Money challenge in January. There may or may
Beautiful.
not be something coming up in between, but come to my website, get on the email list, and you or in my Facebook world, and you won't miss a thing.
Fantastic. And you're also on Instagram, aren't you? But Facebook is
Yeah,
where it's happening at Facebook.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
my comfort zone.
We all have them. Oh, this has been so good. And I'm excited for you and for your work. Thank you so much for inspiring me,
Oh,
inspiring the viewers, the listeners, and inspiring your community and all women around the world, because it's all done in consciousness, isn't it? That we're
yeah.
lifting up and rising and taking ownership of
Mm,
this knowing that we are the power already. We don't need to look at it anywhere else out
no,
there seemingly for it.
no, no. Love it. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Eloise, for being here, and come back on the show next
Oh yeah,
year,
yeah.
2025.
Anytime.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, everybody, for listening, for viewing, for watching. We'll be back again tomorrow with the Divine CEO show with Reverend Dr. Lenita, who's on the front cover of the magazine and featured in the magazine this month. So looking forward to that. And thank you again, Eloise Burton.
My pleasure.
Bye for now.